Hi everyone, welcome to the first episode of the Connect and Thrive show. I'm Crystal Hobbs with Reflective Marketing, and today I have with me Andrew King of Pull Apps Consulting and Development. So Andrew, you were actually, I think, the first person I even mentioned this idea to, so I'm pretty excited to have you here.
Happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me. Should be a bit of fun.
Excellent. So why don't you tell us a little bit about you and how you started your business?
Yeah, so I'm a web and mobile app consultant. I also do some marketing work here in St. John's. I started my business. I essentially ran a kitchen cabinet business here in St. John's for about 8 years. I sold out of that around 2012 and essentially went looking for the biggest opportunities that I could find out there, and it seemed to me that mobile was the biggest one. Everyone had a phone in front of their face, so I started off building mobile apps for the consumer space, and in the last couple of years I went to the consulting route, doing them for local businesses, schools, things of that nature.
Very cool.
Yeah,
I know. So we're
different.
all walking around with looking at our phones, and it was funny. I had a meeting with a client the other week, and she said her father's up in age, but he was like, "You need to get in the phone," and that's so true.
Well, yeah, it's the piece of landscape that I think everybody has in common these days, and the way traditional media has been consumed has changed a lot. So mobile seemed like a really big opportunity in my mind, and I took off running after it.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Hello to everybody tuning in live. Feel free to pop a question in the comments below. We'd be happy to answer those live. So Andrew, I know you just did a super cool project with Newfound cabs to do an app for them. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So the idea for the app didn't really originate from me. It came from the owner of Newfound cabs. He was actually visiting a guy who owns a taxi stand in Florida, and through the course of sort of an hour-long meeting that he was sitting down having a chat about business, he finally said to him, like, "Why isn't the phone ringing here?" And he said, "Well, we've had a mobile app that we've been using for 2 years, and now we don't get phone calls anymore. It's all done through an app and a digital dispatch system." So I've got a company in the Genesis Center as well, and they actually connected me with Newfound cabs. A couple of phone calls later, I was building an app and a dispatch system to help things out, and it's a pretty cool little project.
Yeah.
For Newfound, it was something that they're a pretty forward-thinking company. They're really leveraged with the accessibility community. They're the first company in St. John's to have debit and credit machines in all the cabs, so they're sort of constantly trying to push the limit and raise the taxi industry to a higher standard, which is pretty cool. So it was a real fun project to work on.
Yeah, and since you told me about it, actually, I've used the app a number of times, and it's just
I've seen you using it. As well as many other people. That's the funny part about building a dispatch system. You can actually see your reach, go out and see if anyone's full of it or not. I've used it, and you actually see the orders come through all the time. So
cool.
It's cool.
Yeah. So I saw some really hilarious and creative videos come up to promote this. Can you tell us how you went about promoting the Newfound cabs app?
So with Newfound, so when I first started working with them, I found out, like I said, that they're a pretty forward-thinking company, but living in St. John's, I wasn't really aware of all the stuff they were doing. So knowing that, number one, we had a demographic that we were looking for in terms of younger people that are willing to accept technology, I was trying to figure out a way that I can get people to engage with this brand and download the app and start using it. So my experience in traditional marketing from running the kitchen cabinet business was generally pretty poor. Like, I found that a lot of the traditional methods out there were sort of a blanket technique where you'd throw a general message out on print, a billboard, radio, or TV, and you weren't getting hot leads, you weren't getting the qualified people. So Newfound had been engaged in a lot of that traditional stuff with radio and print, and I pushed them towards social. So I figured that social would be a better bang for your buck, as well as having a better finger on the pulse of the demographic that we were looking for. So they had 50 Facebook fans, I think, when we started, so it was really starting from the ground up. We decided to promote it with video, to do mobile app install campaigns. I knew that video sort of converts 10 to 1 over like a static or a regular creative.
Totally.
So again, I was looking for a way to get in and sort of connect with the younger people that I thought might want to use this app. So long story short, we enlisted Donnie Dumpy, who's like the local YouTube star. Some of his videos have over 1 million views. There's a couple of albums. His movie won a couple of awards here in Canada. So we figured he had a pretty good finger on the pulse for what we were doing. And Newfound luckily took a leap of faith in me to go and shoot a bunch of these videos that we had to ensure creative value for the brand, but were also funny for the viewers.
Yeah.
So we went and shot a bunch of videos. The very first one that went out actually ended up going viral, which was a pretty cool thing to be involved in. So we had a goal of getting 30,000 views on that video. I figured it was going to take a couple of weeks, as well as a couple dollars in ad spend. Long story short, we got the 30,000 views in about 2 hours. All
Wow.
organic traffic. It just started being shared around. So the app, thousands of people are using it right now. That video that went viral topped out about 175,000 views. The other series that we've done too, I think we're at about 320,000 views overall in the videos, and we've got another one coming out on Monday. And the real cool thing that I found about it was that, we shot all this stuff and did it for a cost similar that I paid for a TV campaign for 2 weeks, that would just go away. And we have 5 months worth of content, and it's continuing to grow. So it's been really fun campaign to be involved in, and real great success.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Thanks.
Super cool. So I know we've got a couple people tuning in live. So I see Beth and Amanda, hello, and Michelle. Beth says, I saw the video and watched the full thing. It was great. Yeah, I loved all of them. I've been sharing them.
I loved the response we got from them. It was a lot of fun to make them as well. It was probably the most fun I ever had on a work day, I gotta say.
Yeah, totally. Cool. So, I guess obviously it makes sense for a cab company to have an app. What other kinds of businesses do you think an app is appropriate for?
So, I don't think an app is appropriate for every business. If you're selling like big, expensive items like a tractor or an incinerator or something that's probably a one-time buy, like that's not generally conducive to having a mobile app. To me, it's like businesses or organizations or schools that have a message that they constantly want to get out, or if you're looking at getting repeat business. So, on my end, things like I said, restaurants and things of that nature are really good. You have loyalty programs, you can build in mobile reservations and payments, you can offer advanced couponing, you can do flash sales. And the thing I find about a mobile app is not a lot of people are leveraging it around here. They say Newfoundland is sort of 5 years behind the times sometimes, and I've found that to be the case. A lot of people say, well, I've got Facebook and a web page or these sort of things. And to me, the app is the thing that ties a lot of it together.
Right.
So, a lot of business owners I've found think that you need sort of 1 million downloads in order for an app to be a success, and I would say it's quite the contrary. I've seen cases where you have 200 or 300 people using an app, but they're the 200 or 300 people that really care about that business.
Totally, yeah.
And, like the 1,000 raving fans ideology, or if you look at 80-20, which says, 80% of your business is coming from 20% of your customers. With an app, you're creating a line of communication with the 20% of the people that care about your business. You're providing them value or utility and giving them a reason to come back, whether it's with, like I said, coupons or flash sales or items of interest. I found a lot of business owners think that it's got to be a lot further than it actually does to be a success.
Right. Yeah.
It seems simple, and it's kind of shocking to me that not a lot of people have really adopted it here, but the ones that have, the forward-thinking companies, have derived a lot of benefit from it. So I would implore everybody out there watching, if you have a business, at least think about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool. So I see Beth here says, she had no idea that you were behind the video and app campaign. So she says props to you.
Thanks. Yeah, it's a little bit different. So usually I'm just doing technology stuff, building websites and apps. So it's a little bit fun to get creative. And I think you kind of got to do that with social and stuff these days. It's advertising to me in a lot of cases has become sort of the same smear of stuff. So if you think outside the box, not everyone's going to use Donnie Dumpy as a spokesperson,
right.
But taking that sort of angle where you're really thinking about who your target market is and doing something that's going to make people laugh or get engaged with your brand is always going to drive some more results.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Yeah, and I like your point too that apps don't necessarily fit every business, because I think, we all read all these articles and it's like, oh, you need to have an app and you need to have Facebook and you need to do LinkedIn and Instagram and Snapchat, and it can definitely be overwhelming.
And that's what confuses a lot of people to me, is like there's so many different mediums that have grown in the last 4 or 5 years to promote your business that business owners in a lot of cases, I know when I ran my cabinet business, you can't see the forest through the trees. You're busy and there's all this new stuff coming at you. But again, the thing to me is that the app ties it all together, so you can really engage your social community, you can push your email marketing list, you can do things like online reviews, you can have contests that actually work and don't cost very much money because you're pushing them out to the people that care about the brand.
Yeah.
So to me, it's the thing that ties it all together, and it's shocking to me in a lot of cases where people say, I've got a website and Facebook, and it's like, yeah, well, in my opinion, that's not enough. You need to be doing the extra step and having the right strategy going forward for it to be successful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So if somebody's considering doing a mobile app, what do you think they need to, what questions should they be asking, or how should they be figuring out their strategy?
So to me, I guess, the things they should be considering or asking themselves is, number one, do they have the commitment to follow through with it? I've seen lots of businesses here and abroad sort of fart out an app and expect that it's going to do something for their business, and without actually committing to thinking about your customer base, ways that you can provide value, what are the most common services that you're offering, and how can you use that to spur more business? Mm-hmm. If you're not committed to doing that, then don't build an app. It's a waste of your time.
Yep.
Like, this is an investment in your business first and foremost. It is going to be an outlay of money up front, but it can actually reduce your marketing costs over time. Right. Because unlike a campaign, this isn't a tactic. This is a tool that can be used for years. So yes, you do have to outlay a bit of money to get it going. But it's, the commitment to having a strategy and saying, what is putting asses in seats at my business, or what is bringing people back to the doors?
Right.
And used in that way, it can be super beneficial for a business. And, looking, is the business right for it or not? And I think that a lot of people don't think it is, and they're sadly mistaken.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like that too. It's a tool, not a tactic.
Yeah.
So it's not something you can just kind of create and then set and forget about it. You have to actually
and that's
use
what was so great about working with Newfound, is that number one, it was so, instead of me sort of pushing it on them, it was their idea and they were willing to push it. And the results that we've gotten as a result of that have been pretty astounding. We changed behavior in St. John's. We have thousands of people using this now when formerly there wasn't even this option. And it's because they committed to it. They did the right contesting, they got the right person involved, strategized properly, and it's growing every single week as a result. And I think any business could employ the same thing, the proper strategy.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So we have another comment here from Michael Pinn. Hi, Mike. Andrew, would love you to reach out to me when you have some free time. We'd love to work on an app for Frontline Action. How
Sounds
about
good to
it?
Me. I should be doing more of these Facebook Live videos.
I told Andrew before we went on this that I'm going to make him addicted to Facebook Live now, since this is your first one.
Yeah,
so.
It's my first time. So yeah, Michael, I'll definitely reach out. I think we'll put some contact info in the comments now when we're done. So yeah, we'll definitely have a chat on it for sure.
Awesome. All right. And if anybody else has questions or comments, please feel free to chime in. This is, meant to be an informal chat, and we love to get questions from you guys. So what is, I guess if you could kind of sum this all up, what is one thing that you wish more business owners knew about mobile apps?
One thing. That's kind of tough because there is a lot of things. So I'm going to go 2 or 3. The first would be that, the cost of these things has significantly dropped in the last couple of years. There's lots of new technology out there. I think a lot of people, like when apps first started in their genesis, it was like $30,000, $50,000 to build one of these things, and that's not the case anymore. Especially for most small businesses, like they don't need a 3D prosthetic leg printed. They need basic functions to engage their audience, and you can do those things pretty cheap. Right. Second thing, I guess, would be no coding is really required. So I think a lot of people are scared of mobile technology and how rapidly that is changing. So, a lot of my whether it's the schools I work with or companies, like if you can log into an email account, you can pretty much run my system. So it's not something that you need to be a tech guru to be able to use. And, you know, the last thing I'd say is that engaging people via mobile, similar to what I mentioned about, you know, the traditional marketing and my belief that it's just, you know, gone the way of the dodo and it's not as effective as it used to be, is that like a mobile app can be a tool. Yes, there's an investment up front, but it's something that could actually really reduce your marketing over the long term by engaging the people that really care about your brand. So if you get someone that actually downloads an app, chances are they're, you know, a lover of your brand or your business. And, you know, again, with the 80-20 principle, if you engage those 20% of people, not only are they telling others, but they're returning to your establishment over and over, whether it's a restaurant or personal training or whatever. Yeah, so it helps you get your message out and makes communication simpler and ties in a lot of different things that are sort of sporadic all over the place, from reviews to social to...
Right, absolutely. All right. So you have like 2 minutes if you want to ask another question. But Andrew, thanks so much for being my first guest. What an honor.
No sweat.
So really cool to talk to you about mobile apps. So if someone wants to get in touch with you about developing their own mobile app or figuring out whether it's right for their business, how should they reach you?
So you can get me via email, via my Facebook page with Pull Apps Inc. or www.pullapps.com, and fill out a contact form. I'll be in touch with you pretty quickly. You know, at the end of the day, there's no charge to get a quote going and have a look. To me, again, not every business is suited for this, so, you know, there has to be a few things involved there in terms of the business owner's commitment, the service they offer, that sort of thing. But I think it's worth looking at least for pretty much any small business. So yeah, drop a line, and love to have a chat with you on it and see if there's something there.
Awesome. All right, so we'll post a link to Andrew's website in the comments. Thank you, Amanda. There it is.
Just like that.
Magic. And you can check out Pull Apps Inc. on Facebook as well. Thanks again, Andrew. I guess we'll clue up there. If you have any questions and you're watching this later, you can leave them in the comments, and I'll be sure that Andrew or I addresses any of those questions. So thank you so much for tuning in. Check back with me next Friday. I'm going to have another guest, and we'll talk about a totally different topic. And thanks again, Andrew. I really appreciate you being here. Super cool to talk about mobile apps.
Thanks for the invite. Thanks everyone for watching. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.